Hey, what's up? This is Odolena from Odolena Digital. Welcome to my channel and be sure to subscribe. Every Sunday, every weekend, I post a video about my favorite books and things that I read about, care about, and are interesting for me. So today I'm going to talk about War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, check out the rest of the book reviews in the playlist above. And yeah, let's get going. So, why do I really love this book and why I'm talking about it? War and Peace is not just a novel. It's actually, according to its writer, Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy, or Leo Tolstoy, the way we call him in English, it's not a novel at all. He claimed that this is something that he wrote and it is in a genre of its own. It's not a novel, it's not romance, it's something more. It's not a historical chronic. It's a large volume, so you can imagine it's a long read, but actually you would be amazed how deeply interesting this book can be. So why do I love this book so much? I read it in my early 20s. I was traveling, commuting on the tube every day, reading a little bit of the book, and I was completely sucked into the content. And now I started recently rereading it again, and I find completely new areas which were not interesting to me at all then, and other areas which were interesting for me then and not so interesting now. So I really recommend you to read this book multiple times, as over the time of your life you are going to notice different things, and this is related to your own development and what your own experience has taught you during this time. What I really love about the book is that it's more than a novel. As I said, it's a amalgam of different characters. There are almost 600 characters in War and Peace. You might be saying like, oh, so who are these 600 characters? I'm not going to say about each one of them, but let's say I'm going to tell you a bit about 2-3 of them which have a little bit more space devoted. Let's say they're not the main ones, but they are some of the driving forces through the novel, some of the characters that have a lot of space devoted, a lot of pages devoted, and they're all interconnected. So one of them is Pierre Bezukov. So he comes in the novel, he's probably mid-20s, just came back from being educated abroad, and he's clumsy, he has no social skills, he doesn't know how to behave in high society where he's drawn into. He is very easy to influence, especially by people who like easy life, like gambling, drinking, women, all these things. He has no idea what to choose as career, what he should do with his life. And to top this up, he becomes the sole heir of one of the biggest fortunes in Russia at this time, as he is the illegal son of a very rich aristocrat who gives him all his money. And of course this does not come well for Pierre. He's absolutely not ready with the responsibility which is given to him with all this money. He's surrounded with people who like to take advantage of him, marries the completely wrong person who's he is, let's say, lustful for. She looks gorgeous, but she turns out to be, as he always actually thought about her before, a very evil and person that you cannot rely on. The thing is, in Tolstoy, nobody is actually purely evil or purely good, and even she has her own good features. But let's say she's like the closest you would get to an evil person, kind of like a woman who finds enjoyment into destroying other people's lives, and unconsciously feels that she has to bring everybody and seduce everybody into the way she functions. Then what happens with Pierre is his life is ending into a very dark side, dark point. He decides to completely change his ways and he transforms into a farmer. He decides to live in one of his country estates. He finds another wife and they have a child together, and he finds meaning. He transforms himself from this gutless person who everybody is bossing around, even though he's the richest man there, into someone who has character, who's living by his own terms, who finds strength in himself and believes into different way of life, away from the high society. He finds connection with nature, with working, with agriculture, with working hard physically in the fields, connecting with people who are workers from the lower classes. He finds meaning into interacting with in a real term. Like, he finds that there is more reality and less fakeness into this world, like a complete metamorphosis of his life. Then we have characters like Natasha Rostova. We find her first very early on. She's just 13 in the beginning of the novel. Is this little flirty little girl. She's very pretty, very energetic. She wants to be loved by everybody. She's full of vanity. She wants to be liked by all men. She falls in love in almost all men that pay some attention to her. And of course she goes into a lot of difficulties and disappointments along the way, especially when it comes to love disappointments. And essentially she is transformed completely as well through the difficulties, through the war, through the misfortunes that happen with her family. She ends up changing completely, and she ends up marrying Pierre and living with him in that village. She turns out to enjoy actually caring for others and being away from this fake high society, understanding the meaning of what it means to care for others, to be a mother, to be a wife, to live with the nature, in connection with the nature, to forgive others. Kind of discovers like this kind of feminine goodness inside herself, which in the beginning we don't see much of, and her energy is let's say channeled into completely different direction at some point of the book. There are also characters like Andrei Bolkonsky. He is the best friend of Pierre Bezukov, who is a little bit older than all of them. We find him in the beginning of the novel. He's, let's say, his early 30s. He's married to a beautiful woman, kind of the flower of the St. Petersburg society. Everybody adores her. She's pregnant, and he admits in like the first chapter to his friend that he doesn't love her. Not only he doesn't love her, he actually despises her, and he realized that actually he made a huge mistake. He's full of guilt, and at the same time he cannot stand her. So he leaves her, he goes on war, he kind of leaves all his problems behind and kind of takes all his energy into the war, building in his career, participating in the biggest events on a very high level, taking a lot of responsibility, living through battles, living through difficult circumstances on the front, fighting, meeting some of the most interesting characters and generals, which we also see described as people, like Kutuzov. Even Napoleon himself is described as a character. So during these wars, he's away from his family, feels tremendous amount of guilt after his wife passes away during childbirth. But at the end, actually on the front, he finds peace with himself and the world around him. When he's almost dying, he's heavily wounded. And then he kind of has this revelation, which is a very, very interesting moment of the book. I think like one of the main moments when he understands somehow on a spiritual level that the whole universe is one and he's part of this one. And he's sharing this time together on the earth with so many other human beings. They're all interconnected. Their lives are interconnected. There's not really good or evil. And he forgives. He forgives himself, his mistakes. He forgives others, the mistakes that they have done to him. And has like this tremendous feeling of internal peace and happiness just before he dies. So a lot of spoilers here, but if you haven't read the book or if you don't intend of reading the book, this is some ideas of what happens. But also I would say that it is worth going through it yourself. Even though you might know a little bit about the story, going through it yourself is completely different, and completely different for any one of us. You're going to actually meet people that that you know. It's funny, like some moments you feel that Tolstoy kind of knows your friends or colleagues or bosses. He knows yourself personally, and you're like, how do you know all these things? Where did you get this information from? Because you consistently recognize moments of your own life, moments of different stages of where you've been spiritually, mentally, friends of yours, acquaintances, enemies. Everybody's there, and we are all interconnected. We are all part of the waves of history when we happen to be born in this period of time. And this is how we are affected by the macro events like wars, like now we see pandemics, but also micro events like relationships, deaths, births, money, all these things that influence our life. And essentially we all change. I think this is one of the biggest parts and biggest examples of the book, is how much people change during life and how much we are capable of transforming ourselves from one situation to another, based on events, based of us growing up, literally growing up physically, mentally, and in any other way, spiritually as well. So yeah, this is all from me for today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I might do some more videos on War and Peace. It's such a deep work that it's actually one video is not enough. Thanks a lot. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next week with another video.